before. That's fine. Gotta get set up. Sorry about that. Hello, everyone. It's a lot going on this screen. Hi, everybody. I hope you all are having a great Friday. I can't even believe it's Friday. It came so fast. So it is 3:40. I wanted to say thank you for everyone who recently followed me here on TikTok. I'm super excited to be connected with all of you. So I wanted to talk today a little bit about building your professional brand, then wanted to invite you all to my upcoming career planning workshop. It's going to be a ways away, but you can absolutely hey, thanks so much for joining my live. So we're going to be having a career planning workshop December, I think the 3rd. But I wanted to come on really quickly. One, to say thank you to everyone who recently followed me. I really appreciate that. And then I wanted to talk about developing your professional brand. It's something that came up yesterday in my mentorship call. So I have a mentorship program called Design Your Career for social workers and helping professionals. And we talked about developing. We weren't specifically talking about developing your personal brand, but I feel like it can fall up under that umbrella based on the things that we were talking about. So what we mentioned during the call, so we have our mentorship calls every Thursday. Every week we meet in the mentorship program. So we were talking about how do you create, I talked about this before, creating frameworks around your ideas. Because when you're deciding like how you want to show up for yourself professionally, you have to make sure that you're making a distinction between you being a generalist social worker and then having a specialization. Especially if you want to position yourself for better roles, for higher pay, for speaking opportunities. You won't always be able to get those opportunities if you're seen as a generalist within a profession. So in order to not be seen as a generalist within a profession, you have to know how to position yourself through your brand. So I wanted to talk about what that looks like if you know that you're wanting to start either creating content online, starting a YouTube channel, selling digital products, doing something outside of your one-on-one therapy work. Developing your personal brand is going to be really important to like identify who you are and who you serve. And that's ideally where it begins. So when you think about a company, like the companies that we tend to shop at or the brands that we tend to shop with, whether it's a beauty brand, a hair company, home improvement shop, home decor, like a lot of those brands have an identity that we like associate ourselves with. We relate to the brand and we relate to their values. And that's the same thing when you're defining your professional brand. So it always starts, like, think about the companies that you shop with, the companies that you like. It's typically around the values of that company. So when I talk about values, I talk about all the things that we define to be good, fair, good, bad, right, wrong, fair, unfair, just, unjust, okay, not okay, acceptable, and unacceptable. Those are typically how we define our values. The way that shows up in a brand is a brand then uses those values to then drive their products and their services. So that means that they value clean energy, clean water, clean products, clean resources, or efficiency or functionality, meaning they want things to be simple and not complicated. Or functional, like they value the functionality of things. So a brand tends to stand on certain values, and then when you resonate with those values, that's what causes you to shop with that brand and to support it. So the certain values, and then when you resonate with those values, that's what causes you to shop with that brand and to support it. So I had to go get in the shade because my phone was overheating. So I hope y'all can hear me and see me okay. So I had to come in the shades because my phone. So, hey, thanks for joining my live. So as I was talking before, it was about developing and building out your professional brand in the same ways like you see companies build out their brands. So when you're thinking about your professional brand, you want to think about all the same things that big brands think about. Their value based, the things that they say that are good, bad, right, wrong, fair, unfair, just, unjust, okay, not okay, acceptable, and unacceptable. And oftentimes within the brand, those are the things that shapes how they develop their products and services, because they believe in efficiency. They believe that things should be easy or not complex, or that it should fit the modern woman, or whatever those values are. That's typically what is driving the way that they talk about their products and services, and the way that they sell their products and services. So when you're thinking about yourself as your own personal brand, you want to develop your brand off of those same value systems. Like, what are those things that you believe to be good, fair, right, wrong, okay, not okay, acceptable, and unacceptable? And then once you've identified what those things are, so inside of Design Your Career Mentorship, that's one of the first things that we do, is I have you identify what your core values are, your mission statement, and then you create what I call a professional purpose statement, which is going to help drive the decisions that you need to make within your career. So once you've created that, then you're able to decide, okay, now that I know like what my values are, how do I now want to position myself so that you're kind of speaking to those values in the work that you do. And this is how you begin to build the foundation of your brand. So what that looks like is you take all of those values that you have, and then you think about the target population and what matters to that target population. What things do they think are good, fair, right, wrong, okay, and not okay? So then your messaging then you want to have the messaging and the things that you say online to be in alignment with the things that you value. And then the goal is for that to resonate with the population that you want to serve. So if you know for a fact that you want to create content online, if you want to be a social work content creator, if you want to do YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and you know that you want to put your voice out more into the world, one of the things that you need to do first before you hop on social media and create any content and record any videos, you want to have already developed what those value systems are for you, because that's going to help shape and form your brand. And then from that, when you're creating your content, you're then bringing in those ideal clients and the people that you want to work with through the messages and the things that you say in your content. Now, if you think about like maybe where you are now, you have a goal to move away from one-on-one client work, or maybe you have a digital product idea that you want to launch, or maybe you want to become a coach or a consultant. One of the foundational things of also building out your brand is positioning. And I think a lot of times when we think of branding, we think about the pretty colors, we think about the fonts, we think about all the pretty things that go along with the brand. But when we're talking about a professional brand, you building out this for yourself, it's about how are you positioning yourself in the marketplace. So what that requires is, before again you post anything online, you want to be looking out into your space to see what's already out there. What are people talking about? What is being shared? What is being said? What's not being said? Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? So part of your brand identity is going to be you defining and creating your own voice, and like niching out a space for yourself where that's you positioning yourself in the marketplace. So if you are in the market, whatever niche you're in, and you're noticing like this theme or like a common misconception that's being shared, when you're developing your personal brand, you then say, I hear a lot of people in the space saying this, but I don't quite agree with this. I think it's more this than that. So then that is what helps you begin to differentiate yourself from other people in the space. And then you're niching out a specific place for you to be able to come into the marketplace and kind of disrupt it a little bit and share a new perspective, new ideas, and new frameworks. So that's the other part that kind of goes along with you developing this out, is you're not just taking like parroted ideas. You're not taking other people's thoughts and recreating them as your own. Like, some things are just going to be kind of like standard within an industry. Like, we have just kind of standard things. Like for social workers, we follow the code of ethics. That's kind of like a standard thing. But then in terms of how you help someone, the process that someone goes through to get a result when working with you, your understanding, your insights, your philosophies, your perspectives, all of those things are what you want to share when you're developing your professional brand. So this doesn't even have to be with you having a business. This is something that you can also do when you're working in your 9-to-5. So if you're struggling and you know that you're having a hard time positioning yourself for higher paying roles, a lot of times it can come back to this idea of you needing to like brand yourself, brand your identity, and really speak to the things that you can do as a professional. When companies are looking for someone to hire, they're always looking for those differentiating factors. Like, what are the things that you can do that set you apart from other people? How do you handle things that would be different than what someone else would do? Or how do you implement a process that can be more efficient than someone else could do it, or that considers other factors that other people don't think about? So when you're able to speak to those things, that's what takes you from having like a generalist level knowledge to having an expert level knowledge. Now, I know a lot of times as social workers, we tend to shy away from the word expert, but being an expert can simply mean that you have maybe a year or more of experience, or you know a little bit more than the average person. It doesn't mean that you have to have 10, 15 years of experience to be considered as an expert. You just have a little bit more knowledge and maybe understand the nuances a little bit more than most people do. And that's really what it would take for you to be seen as an expert. So when you're thinking about, you want to build out this brand, you want to be known for something, you want to define, like, what are those points of differentiation for you? What are those things that are going to help you be able to stand apart from everyone else who's talking about the same thing? How are you going to be able to position your ideas so that they sound fresh, new, or different? So what that requires is, first, you have to do pre-work, is what I always recommend. So pre-work is you doing your research, looking at other companies, corporations, people who are in your space. Hey, everyone, thanks so much for joining my live. You want to look at other people who are within your niche and within your space and see what are they talking about. How are they kind of conceptualizing things that they're observing and seeing within the profession? And then how do your ideas differ from what everyone else is saying? Do you have a different take on something? Do you have a different perspective? Do you see it a different way? Have you researched something that's different than what other people are putting out there, or maybe they've not considered the nuances and you know a little bit more about it? So those are going to be those differentiating factors that's going to help you and establish you as an expert and someone that people should listen to. So when you're creating your content online, you're looking for speaking opportunities, and you're wanting to go to the next level in your career, you want to make sure that you have those foundational things in place, because it's going to be easier for you to make that shift and pivot for people to listen to your ideas and perspectives if you fleshed it out before you start making content online. So that's one thing that I always recommend. You have to do the pre-work before you start doing the posting. And that's oftentimes the strategy part that a lot of people miss. Hi, thank you so much for joining my live. So if you are a social worker, therapist, or a helping professional, and you know in 2026 you're wanting to show up in a bigger way, you're wanting your impact to exceed your office or your cubicle, you know that you have a perspective to share, you have ideas, things that you want to do to like push the conversation forward or to move forward toward change, you can absolutely do that. There's enough room, there's enough space for everyone, but in order for you to, now I don't want this to make you shy away from creating content, like, oh, I have to have my frameworks in place, or I have to have these differentiating factors. I don't want that to cause you to not show up online. Like now with ChatGPT, you don't even have to figure out all of these things by yourself. You can take what I'm giving you now in terms of how to build out your personal brand as a social worker or a therapist, and then you can put prompts into ChatGPT and then help you conceptualize the things that I'm sharing with you. So let me know in the chat if you are a social worker, therapist, helping professional, and you know that you're committed to wanting to show up in a bigger way in 2026. You're kind of done hiding in the shadows, playing small, not allowing your voice to be heard. You want to differentiate yourself in the online space. You want to be known for something. You want to be seen for something. You want to work with a specific population to have your name in rooms when people in your community are looking for an expert. So if you know that that's something that you want within your career, just drop a comment in the chat and let me know what your area of expertise is. And if you guys can like this live, it helps TikTok share it out to other social workers and therapists who might need it. So if you could just tap the screen, I would really appreciate that. But right now we're talking about how you can go about building your professional brand as a social worker, therapist, or helping professional. So that's what my content is mostly about. My name is Monika. I'm a clinical social worker and a social work marketing mentor, and I help social workers design careers that they love and monetize what they know. So you don't feel stuck in your career, so you don't feel like you don't have options within a profession, and you know exactly what you need to do to navigate your career to get to where you want to be. There's no reason for you to feel like you have to play small, that you have to abandon your goals, that you have to shelve your ideas. Once you know how to do the things that I'm talking about in this live, and you connect with people who can help you get there faster, you don't have to stay stuck in your career. You don't have to stay stuck working in roles that aren't in alignment with who you are and who you want to serve. But a lot of times it starts with what I'm talking about, knowing how to position yourself, knowing how to brand yourself professionally. So if you have not branded yourself professionally, what you'll notice is you'll only attract lower paying roles. It'll be harder for you to move from an entry-level social worker to a managerial role, because you've not positioned yourself for your leadership to see you as someone who can lead a team, who has forward-thinking thoughts, who's able to manage projects. So if you've not been able to communicate that to your employer or to your supervisor, then they'll continue to put you like in this box of you just being the worker. So if that's not what you want, then you want to learn how to position yourself and how to rebrand. Now, if you are working as a therapist and you're working in your own practice and you've not learned how to differentiate yourself, everybody's starting a private practice now. So maybe where you were like one of only 2 people in your community servicing the population that you're working with, now it's a more competitive market, and you're needing to know how to differentiate yourself from the person down the street who's wanting to get the same clientele that you are. Now, don't get me wrong, there's enough work to go around for everyone if it is in fact something that you want to do, getting one-on-one work as a therapist. But one of the things that I help therapists do is to remove one-on-one work. I believe in a one-to-many model where we get away from doing one-to-one work and we learn how to leverage social media to get our message out, to get in front of the right people, to get speaking opportunities, to get contract opportunities, to create your own digital products and your own curriculum. So that's what I help social workers do. So if you know that you want to get away from one-to-one work, there's absolutely a path for you to be able to do it. But it first starts with these ideas of knowing how to market yourself, how to brand yourself. So when you think about the brands that you love and that you shop with the most, oftentimes, just like with the big brand, it's the same thing for your professional brand. You want to start with all of those values that matter to you. So when you shop at a brand, you're shopping based off of the values that they've presented to you. So maybe their values are more clean energy, clean water, clean air, functionality, more efficiency, design for women, design for the busy mom. Like whatever that messaging is or whatever those values are, that's what then that drives how they promote their products and services. And then when you buy into those values and say, yeah, I do think that things should be more efficient, and I do think that we need something specifically for women, or it should be more efficient, or I do value clean air and clean water and moving away from plastics. They're tying into your value system, and then you're resonating with that when it comes to you shopping with that brand. And oftentimes we tend to only support brands that align with our value system. So the same thing is going to be for you with your professional brand. You want to start just like the company does. You want to start with your professional values. So when I define values, it's all of those things that you define to be good, bad, right, wrong, okay, not okay, acceptable, and unacceptable. So within my mentorship program, Design Your Career, that's one of the things that I help social workers do before they apply for any job, any role, or put themselves out there on social media in any way. You have to start with defining your professional values first. And then after you define your values, we put that in what we call a professional purpose statement. And then your professional purpose statement is the thing that helps to drive your decisions around what roles you should take, what your non-negotiables are, what's the salary that's going to work for you, how do you want to position yourself either professionally within a 9-to-5 or then start positioning yourself online. So it's going to start with those values. So once after you define what your professional values are, then it's like, okay, so what do I do with these values now that I have them? Once you've defined your values, then you start creating ideas, processes, systems, frameworks, philosophies, like conceptualizing your ideas so that it makes sense to in alignment with your values. So say for example, and if anyone wants to drop like maybe what is a value that you have, the thing that you believe to be good, bad, okay, not okay, acceptable and unacceptable, and then we can build an idea around that. But I'll start with me. So one of my values is community. I value community. I value shared space. I value creating things together. And I believe that you can get more things done in community than you can get done by yourself. You can absolutely go do things on your own and do things by yourself, but that can get isolating, that can get lonely. So if I'm positioning myself and creating my brand, and my brand is all about community, then that's going to be the thing that you hear me talk about. So you're going to see me talking about a mentorship program where we're in a group and we're meeting every Thursday and we're having conversations and we're doing a career planning workshop together. So you're going to see me gathering social workers together because my value system is community. So when I'm talking online, or when you if I'm talking on stages, you'll see that a lot of what drives the work that I do is the value that I have around community. Now once you have these ideas and you know what your values are, then you want to build like an infrastructure around it. You want to build thought around it, systems around it, a philosophy around it. So when I say a philosophy, let me know if you know what I mean when I say build a philosophy around it, and then I can expand on that if you need me to. So again, we're talking about developing out your professional brand as a social worker, therapist, or helping professional. So we're starting with your core values. We're identifying all those things that you believe to be good, bad, right, wrong, fair, unfair, just, unjust, okay, okay, not okay, acceptable, unacceptable. Like a lot of what we're seeing now in the world, to most of us, like this is unacceptable, like this is not okay. So then you take what is happening in the world now, and then you develop a thought process around it. You develop philosophies around it. So if this is not okay, then what is the thing that is okay? How should it be existing? What should be happening? What do you believe should be taking place right now? Those are going to be your insights. Those are going to be your perspectives. Those are going to be the way that you kind of shape your ideas. So then once you have that in place, then you can begin creating talking points around that and sharing that out and letting people know what your thoughts are, what your opinions are, and then you're then beginning to build that traction, begin building that brand and community around the things that you value. I really like your live last week about finding your niche. It was very helpful. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you found that helpful. So hopefully you'll find today's live helpful, where we're talking about kind of developing out your brand. And the niche content that I make, it ties right in to developing your brand, because for many of you as social workers, you have to, if you want to be successful in your career, a lot of times I know you all talk about making 6 figures as a social worker, which is absolutely possible. Don't let anyone tell you that it's not possible for you to make 6 figures as a social worker. But in order to make that happen, you have options to get there. One option is you can work for a company or an organization. I know a lot of times people work in like pharmaceuticals. They'll work for a healthcare company, doing something within an agency where they can work a 6-figure role. You can work in some type of high-level social service role, and then you could get to 6 figures that way. So there are a lot of different ways to get there. You can do it within the 9-to-5 track if that's what you want to do. If that's not what you want to do and you still want to get to 6 figures, oftentimes you'll hear people say that you need to start a private practice and then build from there. That's absolutely one route you can take. Another route that you can take is the route that I'm recommending and suggesting to you now, is that you build identity, you build infrastructure around your intellectual property. That's something that no one can take away from you. So when you're working in your 9-to-5, if you're not building infrastructure around your intellectual property and something happens to that 9-to-5, you don't have anything that you can leverage to begin creating income for yourself. That's why you want to use the knowledge and the expertise that you're gaining from your 9-to-5, and then you want to be able to build out something for yourself just in case anything happens. You'll have a way to make money online, to put ideas out there, to start a YouTube channel, creating content on TikTok. So you don't just want to have one thing going for you in the 9-to-5 space. I always recommend to social workers, you always want to have something else going. I definitely see that. I look at how many other social workers, therapists marketing themselves on LinkedIn. Yeah, absolutely. they go to community events and market themselves offline. Absolutely. You definitely want to do that. Now, in order for you to be able to position, is somebody coming up? Oh, no. And now, in order for you to be able to position yourself as an expert, the goal is for you to be able to move from a generalist level social worker to an expert, or having a level of expertise. Now, just because you have a level of expertise, it doesn't mean that you know everything or know all the things. It just means that you have a little bit more knowledge than the average person. That's the only thing that you need to position yourself as an expert. You understand the nuance of things where other people don't. You see angles of things where other people only see one dimension. So when you're thinking about how to position yourself as an expert, you want to identify, like, what is that area that you're working with? What is the target population? Who do you serve? And then what is something that you know, understand, or believe about that population that other people don't know? Like, they don't have that level of knowledge and depth that you have. That's how you then begin positioning yourself as an expert within the profession. So think about what those things are. What knowledge do you have from the work that you've done that can begin positioning you as an expert? Now, then, if you want to translate that knowledge and expertise into the online space, then, like I mentioned before, is where you want to start developing your frameworks, your philosophy, your insights, and begin sharing those ideas online. Now, some of those could be a little bit controversial. It could be different than what people traditionally know or believe, but it's still you finding a place in the market. And that's really what branding is all about. It's really all about positioning. How are you positioning yourself in the space? How are you differentiating yourself from other people who are doing something similar? And what makes you the voice that other people should listen to? Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be smarter than everyone. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have more degrees and more certifications than everyone. That's normally not the thing that differentiates you. Oftentimes, the thing that differentiates you is maybe your personal story, your own expertise, how close you are to the thing that you're speaking of. And like I mentioned before, those nuances, those points of understanding that other people don't have that you do. From your last live, I was thinking about forensic social work privately for first-time offenders. Oh, that's a really good idea. I think there's someone here on TikTok who talks about forensic social work. I'll have to if you send me a message, like DM me, I'll tag her, or I'll send you a link to her page, and I think she talks a lot about forensic social work. But that's absolutely a niche that you can transition into. That's a really, really good niche. It's a topic that fits with my values in an area I see a lot. Oh, absolutely. Investment into the future. Absolutely. I mean, anytime you work with like first time offenders and you're doing work around recidivism, which is kind of like helping to reduce reoffending rates, and you're like providing solutions to that population, that's always a really good place to start, because people are always forward thinking, like, how are we going to help these first time offenders continue to contribute to society? So if you have a level of expertise around that, that would be great. Okay, perfect. Yeah, just message me and then I'll send you a link to her page. And she talks a lot about forensic social work, and I think she works a lot with like attorneys and judges in the work that she does. So I think that could be really good for you. So yeah, I think that'll be great. So congratulations on you kind of nailing down what it is that you want to do. Like, that's oftentimes the hardest part for us as social workers, is like figuring out how do we transition from generalists to specialists. Now, I recommend that we all do that within our professions, even if you're working in a 9-to-5, because one of the things that you can do in your 9-to-5 while you're like developing this depth of knowledge, even if you're not licensed, you can still partner with the nonprofit organization in your area and talk about an aspect of the work. You can host a training or a workshop within your community talking about the work. You can contact an agency or an organization to see if you can speak to their staff or to talk with a group of leaders about it. You can schedule time with your city leaders and have time to speak at your city government or city commission meetings. Like, there are a lot of things that you can do, and when you're in that 9-to-5 space, that can still be positioning you as an expert, someone that people will want to listen to. And it doesn't have to be just only when you're licensed. Like, there's a lot of things that you can be doing to leverage your voice and to leverage your expertise, even if you're not licensed. So I think that's a really good idea. Identifying like that expertise that you did around forensic social work. I think that's really great. Now, if anyone else has any other expertise that you want to share, you can drop that in the chat, and then we can talk through, like, what would it look like. I don't know if I'll be on here that long, but we can talk a little bit about, like, what would it look like if you were wanting to brand yourself and having that level of expertise be the thing that people know you for, and, like, can get your name in the room when people are needing that level of expertise. And another great thing that opens up for you as well, like, when your community, if you kind of look out in your community and see what's going on, when they're having, like, summits for teens, or when they have, like, a call for speakers, and you're working in that population, you can always submit what they call a RFP, like a request for proposal, and then you can submit a title that you can talk to about that. You can talk about that topic and submit that as a proposal. So look for, like, summits, youth organizations who might want to, talk about the topic. And then that could be another way for you to begin, like, getting your name out there and positioning yourself as an expert in that way. If you're someone who, like, you are thinking, like, yeah, I would love to take advantage of those opportunities, I would love to be able to speak, know that you can always partner with someone who has a little bit more experience and expertise as you, and then you both can co-facilitate. So you don't even always have to be the one who has all of the knowledge, but you can always work with someone who has a little bit more expertise, who wouldn't mind kind of sharing their knowledge and sharing the stage with you, so that you can both benefit from the opportunity. And that would just be a matter of you finding someone in your community, letting them know what you're interested in, what it is that you want to do, and then making that connection to see if you were to submit that RFP, if they would be willing to come on board and partner with you to present it. So that's always something that you can do. Again, even if you are not licensed yet, even if you've not finished your master's degree, you can do the things that I'm suggesting and recommending for you. So I always say, don't allow anyone to put you in a box or make you believe that you can't design the career that you want within your social work career. You absolutely can. And it's really about learning how to leverage the knowledge that you have, knowing how to position yourself as an expert, and then having that area of specialization or that niche that you're working in, and getting that depth of knowledge. So you all will hear me talk about that a lot. You need that depth of knowledge that's going to separate you as a specialist from generalist level social workers. That's how you begin to demand higher pay. You can seek out other roles outside of traditional social work roles because you have the depth of knowledge in that area of expertise. So I just wanted to come on really quickly to share that. If you are, in fact, interested in learning more about Design Your Career, which is my 3-month mentorship program, we are in our last 2 months of the mentorship program, but you're more than welcome to still join us. I'm going to be launching the mentorship again in January, so the doors will be closing. But if you know that you're a social worker, therapist, or helping professional and you're interested in learning more about a Design Your Career mentorship program, you can click my name at the top, and it'll be a link there where it will say Join Design Your Career, and then you can read about the mentorship. Again, it's 3 months. We meet every Thursday. Right now we meet at 7 p.m., but going into the new year, I'm probably going to change the time. But you get access to me. We plan out your goals. Like yesterday, we looked at their 90-day career goals, kind of track where they were, what things are in progress, what progress they made. I gave my recommendations on how I think some changes that they can make to begin to move their goals forward. And then we also talk through any mindset blocks or any shifts that you need to make that are getting in the way of you accomplishing your goals. So that's something that we do within the mentorship. Again, this is going to be for social workers if you are just starting out in the profession. If you have an idea that you are wanting to create and you just need a support around it, or you need to kind of talk through it to figure out how to bring it into fruition, that's something else that I can help you do. So this is ideally an entire career to CEO pipeline that I've created for social workers inside of the mentorship. So you can start in the career phase, and then I'll help you navigate your career if whether or not you want to continue to move up in your career. There are courses and modules inside of the mentorship for that, for job search, resume templates, prompts that you can use, negotiating scripts. All of that is inside the mentorship, so you can kind of stay in that 9 to 5. But then if you know you want to transition into kind of positioning yourself online, using your voice in online spaces, moving conversations forward through social media, then I also have resources in there for you as well to begin like going from employee to entrepreneur. So you'll learn how to make that shift and then start leveraging social media. So it's, again, a true career to CEO pipeline that I've created for social workers. So it's not just about staying in your 9 to 5. It's about thinking about all the other opportunities that are available for you and then creating a path, what I call your social work success path. So that's what we design and create for you inside of the mentorship program. So again, if you know you want to learn more about it, you can click the link in my profile for my Stand Store, and then you'll see the link Join Design Your Career, and then you can learn more about the mentorship. So I don't know if anyone has any questions now about where you are in your career, how you can begin creating a career plan. That's something else that I recommend. So in addition to creating your 90-day career goals, I believe that everyone needs to have 90-day career goals. If you don't have your career goals mapped out yet, then you're aimlessly wandering around in your career with no direction and no plan to move forward. And that's not what we want, because you'll never reach your goals just taking random roles, because you'll find that you'll just continue to just take what's in front of you, but then you have no compass letting you know like when you've reached your milestone, when you need to pivot, when you need to transition, when it's time to ask for higher pay. So you want to plan all of that out so that you're navigating your career in a very strategic way, and it's not like haphazard and random. You want to be very intentional in your career planning. So if you don't have a career plan, you definitely want to have something in place that's helping you map out those 90-day goals. And then once you have those 90-day goals in place, you don't want to have too many goals. Like, you want to have something where you're getting some small wins that you're able to see in your career. So one of the girls within the mentorship program, she's starting her nonprofit organization. So we're walking through all the things that she needs to do to start her 501c3 nonprofit. Now, there are some things where she's kind of wanted to jump out there and then start with services first, but I'm like, okay, hold on. It's some other things you need to have in place before you start delivering services. I know when we start a nonprofit, that's ideally where we want to start, is like, let me offer these services to the community. But there's so many other things that you need to have in place before you start offering services. So that's where we're working through with her. So if you know that you have a goal and you need support around it, you need ideas, you need to like walk through it, you need someone to listen to it and help you like flesh out how to make it happen, then I strongly encourage you to look more into the mentorship program. So does anyone have any questions about navigating their career, identifying their niche, figuring out what it is, the target population that they want to serve? And that is also one of the trainings inside of the mentorship, is how to nail down your niche or define your area of expertise, because that again is going to be important for all of you wanting to get to that six figure mark, is having that niche and area of expertise. That's going to help you get there quicker. So I'll probably be on until maybe like 4:15, 4:20, just to see if I have any questions. I said I was going to go get something to eat, and I still haven't done that yet. So I'll just see if I have any questions. And if you all find this information I'm sharing with you helpful, please tap the screen. Let me know that you found it helpful. That helps TikTok share out the live to more people. So if you could tap the screen, let me know if what I shared really helped you in your career. I would greatly appreciate it. And then if you have any questions about navigating your social work career, if you're a social worker, therapist, or helping professional, that's what I do within the profession. So I help social workers design careers that they love and monetize what they know. Thank you so much for the hearts. So when I talk about monetizing what you know, it simply means, how do you begin making more money off of the things that you know? So how do you take the things that are within your head and then learn how to leverage that into more income? And it doesn't always have to be within a 9 to 5. So I show you how to leverage your expertise in areas outside of traditional social work roles. So that would be like content creation, what I'm doing now. It could be creating a digital product, starting your coaching or consulting company. So there are a lot of different ways that you can monetize from your expertise, and that's what I help social workers do. So if we have no other questions, I'll wait a little bit longer to see if we have any questions. Anyone have any questions about navigating your career or fleshing out your goals, deciding what it is that you want to do? Probably hop off the live shortly. Now, I will be going live. Oh, two other things. So I will be going live this weekend. I'm just going to probably set up my streaming platform so that I can stream from 3 platforms at once instead of 1. So I'll be streaming from Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And then I don't know if I can stream from TikTok, but I'll probably be on my phone for TikTok if I can't get it set up in my streaming platform. And then in December, we're going to be having our annual career planning workshop. So if you know that you want to come into community and plan out your goals for the new year, we're going to be doing that in December. And I would love for y'all to join us. I'm going to be sending the link out shortly. I just kind of got to map out my plans a little bit more. So I'm in the process of kind of mapping all that out. So if you know that you want to attend the career planning workshop, you can DM me. If you're on my email list, you're already going to be notified about the career planning workshop. So this is something that we come together every 12 weeks, every 90 days to plan out our career goals, to make sure that we're exactly where we want to be, that we're gaining momentum, we have traction around the things that we want to do, we're identifying our priorities, we don't have too many things on our plate, and we know exactly what to prioritize first, even if everything feels like a priority. So that's what we do inside of the career planning workshop. So I would love to see you all there. So I'm going to hop off. And then again, if you all have any questions, feel free to DM me. And then we could talk further there. And then I'll probably just see you all tomorrow when I go live. Have a great rest of your evening and enjoy your Friday. It's a beautiful day. The weather is amazing. Hopefully the weather is amazing where you are too. You're so welcome. Thank you. So hopefully the weather is amazing where you are too. Have a great Friday. And I will talk to you all later. As always, be well.